If you would like to support the Path of Night podcast and the crew in our projects, we currently accept contributions to coffee.com/Path of Night. And thank you for listening.
Path of Night is an actual play Vampire the Masquerade podcast set in the classic world of darkness. We're all friends, we're here to have fun, but our story can include graphic violence, drug use, sexual content, and other mature themes. We've talked at our table about safety, comfort, and consent, both as players and storytellers. We know what to expect, we're all excited to be here, and we want you to feel the same. So listener discretion is advised. Now let's walk the Path of Night.
Last time on Path of Night, Johnny seeks out Weathers and learns that Jane is missing and that Detective Suarez is potentially involved. Weathers abandons the position of Bruja Primogen, telling Johnny to take it. Britta and Neil finally find the moment to speak with Primogen Nyx, and the Malkavian Elder gives the two information about Prince Roland's mental state and explains her own role within the Incarnate. The Malkavian Primogen reveals details about Britta's origin as a chatterling of the Shadow Crusade, her role within the Talmahera, and the threat of the Red Star. Britta attempts to process while Miles deals with his demons in the meantime. Wynn finds Johnny, and the two manage to talk things out. The coterie reunites after the trial, coming together whole. Johnny, you wobble, you stagger as you walk, and Wynn eventually gets you into the truck and takes you to the woods where her haven is. And as you walk that old path, the two of you actually notice something interesting, where the Weeping Bear had died some time ago now. With the spring, it has brought these mushrooms that grow over the place where its corpse had been burned. And they grow up along the trees, and there's just this thick patch that has been overrun by these little mushrooms. And you head past and arrive. Johnny, as rough as your night's been, the first thing you notice is that the door to the haven is open, and there are pensive sounds coming from within that you recognize. And as the two of you make your way to the doorway, you can see Miles, Britta, and Neil waiting for you.
Before we jump in, if I had seen the mushrooms, I would have tried to see if I could figure anything out about them. I'd like to make a science roll.
Sure.
That is science plus intelligence?
Yes, if you have science.
I do have science.
Go for it.
I've got 2 science.
The difficulty of this roll is 7.
I have 1 success.
With 1 success, you will know that these, you don't quite recognize what sort of mushrooms these are, but you do notice that they seem to be particularly enduring. It looks like they'll just kind of grow on anything.
Wynn brings Johnny up to her shack. Inside the shack, currently there's just an army cot and perhaps a little oddly a pink beanbag chair with duct tape on it. It's clearly been repaired a few times. And Wynn hurriedly starts setting up some miscellaneous camping and folding chairs that look like they've been scavenged from campsites. I've been collecting these in case you guys ever came over.
Thank you, Wynn.
To put them to use.
Neil is awkwardly struggling in the beanbag chair, like, no, it's pretty comfortable. It's no, good. It was good.
I feel like Wynn would also have, like, Christmas lights strung around her area that, like, she can plug into, like, some kind of generator. So, like, when she's around, she can, like, turn it on and have, like, this weird kind of, like...
She's got definitely the single light bulb hanging from the ceiling that doesn't really have a pull cord. You have to screw the bulb in and out in order to turn the light on and off. But yeah, I like the idea that she has a little ambiance of this old string of Christmas lights with some of the bulbs missing.
Which is really funny because, like, she can see in the dark perfectly well, so it's literally just for company.
Well, Joey gets scared of the dark.
And Joey.
Johnny kind of pats you on the shoulder as you get to the shack and quickly heads off to the side of the woods to expel some of the liquid that doesn't belong in his stomach. That
Britta.
Can't exist in his stomach.
Britta's about to sit down in the folding chair that Wynn just placed down for her, but she walks back out to the door to check on Johnny and kind of calls out, "Hey, you're not near those mushrooms, right?"
No, not near any mushrooms.
Thank you. And with that, she just goes and sits back down.
After a minute or so, Johnny comes back and finds a spot.
Oh, that's a good idea, excuse me. Wynn kind of jogs out to the woods, empties the tequila and the monarch caterpillar, and heads back in.
I just don't think anyone should go near those. I don't recognize them. I
don't like them. I've been meaning to take a torch to them.
They seem resilient.
Anything that's growing near where Weeping Bear was, I don't think should stay there.
Just be cautious, alright?
Yep.
If they come back, even with the fire and things like that, let me know.
Will do.
Because I got thoughts. Anyway, but just,
Instinctively, Johnny reaches to grab another cigarette, realizes he's out, and a big sour frown crawls across his face.
Oh, hang on, let me see if I've got anything. Wynn kind of pulls out a milk crate from underneath her army cot. It's got miscellaneous crap that she's taken from campsites. Does she have a pack of cigarettes?
Roll a die. On a 7 or higher, yes.
On a 6, it's cloves.
It's an 8.
Boom. Morley's.
Here you go, man.
So the group of you are outside, under the tarp. Wynn raises the broom, pushing the water that's collecting on it off. And there is a long, pregnant pause that follows the water splashing on the ground.
Well, sorry I bounced out a little early, but congratulations, Neil. I'm glad you're not dead yet.
Thanks, Johnny. Yeah, I'm also glad that I'm not dead.
So what's the plan?
I don't know.
Well, we know what we have to do, so...
Do we?
Well, okay, so here's the thing that I've been thinking, right? I don't want to ask this of anybody else. It's technically it's my ordeal. So, none of you have to help. I'm not gonna ask that of anybody. I'll just go on. I'll talk to. I'll deal with it. By myself.
So you die anyway?
Okay. Well, I might not. You don't know. I have stuff.
That might be more true if it hadn't been announced out loud in the middle of court.
Yeah, I am definitely expecting it jumped by Amaya. I would have said the Anarchs, but there aren't any anymore.
The whole point of doing what we did in the court, paying the boons and talking to the people that we talked to, was to give you a chance.
And I have it. But I would do this to stay alive for all of your sakes, but that's not... And he looks at Johnny. He's like, I'm thinking about it, but I need you to know it's not something I want to do. It's not something I'm happy about. I don't kill Johnny. I've never killed anyone. Ever. I can't even feed on people when they're awake. It freaks me out too much that I might be hurting someone. But if I don't do this, Nara's dead. And so am I, but...
If you don't do this, Nara's gonna be blood hunted by New Haven.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean she's dead.
Yes, it does, because she's essentially blood hunted by Alamut. So am I.
I'm sorry, by what?
By the children of Hakim are hunting her, as far as I can tell, as much as they're hunting me. There's a schism. I think it happened tonight. That's why Reese stormed off.
So killing the Anarchs, does that solve that? Do you stop being blood hunted by Alamut if you go and kill Amaya?
No, but being an independent, being alone, there's no protection there. But there is a faction of the Assamites who are going to need shelter. And whether we like it or not, the Camarilla, they are the political powerhouse of the Kindred Society.
Rollins is not the Camarilla.
But he represents them here because a prince is his domain. And it's not like anyone above his pay grade is going to be okay with him not being here. The Archons, which speak with the voice of the Justicars, said he needs to be here in charge. So as far as politics is concerned, he is the Camarilla. At least around here. And this is my home, too. I'm willing to hear other...
I don't think you are. Yeah, just like you said it, you've only got one option. At least that's what you think.
It is what I think, and I'm waiting for more information. When have you not known me to be the one dragging his heels looking for more information or another way out? That's who I am. Which means if I'm here, if I'm thinking about doing something, I've thought about it. I haven't stopped thinking about it. Even when Britta and I were talking to Nix, even worrying about Britta, that even worrying about you, about Miles, when you actually seem to be having an okay day, as far as, I am thinking about it. And if there's another way, I thought about it until he said the Setites want her skull. I thought maybe we could just pull another Arabella, we could worm our way out of it. But they want her skull, so the other way is to just make war on the entirety of Clan Setite in the area, undermine the prince, and throw Miles's reputation into a dumpster and light it on fire.
So why don't we go to the Setites and see if there's something else they want other than Amaya?
It's not a bad option. Miles would have to do that. I don't think they're going to talk to any of the rest of us. But they also made an end run around him for a reason. The price that they'll want for that might be high. And doesn't actually help my ordeal unless they also talk to Prince Rollins, who, by the way, is insane right now. I don't know if everybody caught that. He's crazy. Quentin King got to him. He's crazy.
Well, he got made crazy, so once we get him out of that...
I don't know how long that's going to last. I don't know. If you look at his aura right now, it's flickering everywhere. He is...
erratic.
My clan got in his head. And
it's a problem for another night.
But that other night could last, he could be better tomorrow. He could be better in a week. He could be better next year. I don't know.
We're putting the cart before the horse right now.
But they're all connected. The cart and the horse are all in a horrible mashup pile in the middle of the street.
Yeah, that's how carts and horses work. They're connected. But you have to connect them in the right order. I say we fucking talk to the Setites and we see if this is even something that is negotiable. I don't want to kill Johnny's friend.
I don't want to either, but I don't want to put Miles in a position where he's going to be indebted to or enslaved to the Setites. Do you remember me talking about what their weird ritual stuff is? They strip away who you are and make you someone new.
The other part is that if we renege on this, they're going to start getting more serious in how they deal with me and with us.
Miles, you had already agreed to do that thing with them?
Correct. I owed them something.
Is this them forcing that issue?
Yes. And they did it in a way that would be worse, because if they just asked me privately, let's say, it'd be easier. This is damaging on multiple levels, and I'm sure they're loving it.
Probably. Here's a weird thought, though. An interesting question. Why did they firebomb Elysium tonight?
Who's they?
Elysium was firebombed?
Yeah, somebody drove past and shouted "Freedom, freedom," which ordinarily would make me think it was a bunch of rowdy anarchs, except there aren't any anarchs. There's only Amaya. That's the information we got. There's Amaya, and everyone else who was an anarch is a Setite. So why did the Setites rile up Elysium tonight?
I thought it would have been the Sabbat.
Sabbat don't scream "Freedom, freedom." That's an anarch thing.
Unless they're trying to make it look like it's the anarchs.
Which they haven't done so far. They very much want us to know that they're the ones running around, making trouble and, blowing up Dunkin' Donuts and stuff. That doesn't seem like their MO, but, random firebomb that doesn't actually do any damage, screaming about freedom, that sounds like a parody of the anarchs. And the only anarchs are Setites. Now, I know sometimes I make connections where there aren't connections, but that is my
Do you see this in the patterns?
I didn't look. This is just me. This is just me making suppositions, but it tracks. I could ask the stars if you want, but this just...
I don't know if that really affects anything that much right now.
It affects things if they're putting you into this kind of position to go kill Amaya, and then they're also trying to ramp up anti-Anarch sentiment amongst the Camarilla. I don't know if it changes anything, but if we can... It might be a bar with which to leverage Roland's paranoia towards the Setites and away from everything else, if that's something we have to do. But I don't want to kill Amaya, but I will... And he can't quite make eye contact with Johnny. I will, if it would keep Nara alive. If I have to choose between two people, my choice isn't hard. I'm sorry.
And if we know what the Setites want before we go to talk to them, if we try to talk to them to get more information, we'll have an easier time trying to get them to do what we want.
Yeah, that too. This is the end of my expertise. I see the patterns. I look at the things. The rest of it, I don't know what to do next. If the answer is we go kill Amaya, I know what to do.
Could you maybe look and see if... I mean, I'm sorry, I don't know how it works, but... With the information that we have, would you be able to see anything about why the Setites might want the skull?
Can I make any sort of like occult roll based on sorcery or whatever, what you could do with like a kindred skull, or is this just a... Not really.
You're not really sure exactly what they'd be using that for?
I don't know.
I mean, you do magic stuff.
Yeah, but there are different...
If I was just taking a wild guess, I feel like a skull could actually identify that it is the person.
Yeah, there's not really like an Anarch dignitas to show and make people feel like it happened.
The Setites are also aware that I'll probably try to screw them in any opportunity I can.
Probably. Which is why they want to screw you in any opportunity they can.
It's mutual.
But when Shaw died, he turned to ash. How would we get the skull?
Shaw was old. Amaya... The couple of times I've seen her in court, which is about the extent of my knowledge of Amaya. No, Johnny, you know her better. She's not more than a decade old.
I think she's younger than Shaw.
Okay.
I don't know for certain.
So there'd still be a skull. In theory.
If you take this hit, and you actually conduct this, you kill the Baron, bring her skull back to the Setites, what's next?
I don't know.
Make some guesses. Look to the future. You're good at that.
If I kill her, the last remaining Anarch who's holding out against the Setites in the area is gone.
How about you?
Me?
What does that do to you? What does that do to Nara?
Nara gets to live.
For how long?
It depends. I was hoping that, I mentioned it in the trial. I was hoping to...
Because you know what she doesn't have? And you know what this ordeal doesn't get her? Hospitality.
She is tolerated so long as I fulfill my end of the bargain.
Did they say that?
Yes, the prince said that.
Tolerated.
Yeah, and then after that, because they are children of Hakim, I was hoping to leverage things into talking to the prince, maybe some higher-ups about some of the...
Good thing the prince is so reasonable. That sounds like it'll probably work.
He's unreasonable in an understandable way.
Is that what you want to call it?
Johnny, I understand the logic behind crazy. Crazy is not a random series of unpredictable moves. Crazy is based in flawed logic, and if you can understand the kernel of flawed logic at the base of the crazy, you understand what's going on. He's paranoid, irrational. He's a megalomaniac. But if you can turn that paranoia at a different target that bolsters his own megalomania, he's crazy, but it still makes sense if you know how to look at it. Everyone who's crazy thinks that they're not. It's all based on a kernel of reality. And I'm not saying he's going to listen. I'm not saying, but that was the thought. I mean, my actual thought was that I would just spend the next several decades quietly living.
You know, Weathers is gone.
Where'd he go?
He walked away from his post as Primogen tonight.
Does that mean he's not part of the Chimera?
I don't know what it means. It means he's looking out for things that he believes in. I feel like a lot of the Brujah in this city have been forgetting about the things that they believe in. And he's trying to figure that out again. I say more power to him.
Who's
Jane's missing.
missing? She wasn't there tonight, that's right.
She hasn't been answering phone calls. Weathers thinks it's Suarez.
Like Suarez took her?
The cop?
I don't know what's going on with him, but he's been either fired for the force or presumed dead, and now Weathers is telling me that he thinks that Suarez has done something with Jane. I know they had some kind of relationship, but I thought he was taken care of.
He's a good guy. I don't think he would hurt her. Miles,
He was a masquerade problem.
So Weathers is gone. Jane might be gone. You do the work of this crazy man with whatever logic that he's got going for him. You try to manipulate him however you think, but that means Amaya's going to be gone. All the Brujah dropping off one by one.
Where are you?
It's a good fucking question.
Also, we're not your enemies.
You're saying that to me?
Yes, I'm saying that to you, Johnny. You've come at us very aggressively since we started talking about it. Do you think any of us really wants to take a hit?
Miles, you need to sit the fuck down
You
and
need
shut
to
up.
shut the fuck up.
He's going to spend it. Yep. Absolutely.
Both of you.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
So I rolled a 3 and 2 1s.
4 10s.
Oh my god. Well, that's as opposite as you can fucking.
I was going to let you know that you're a +2 difficulty, but okay. You crushed that anyways. Okay, everyone, initiative. Johnny.
19.
Wynn.
9.
Miles.
17.
Britta.
13 due to spending 1 blood for celerity.
Neil.
10.
Johnny, it's your action.
Johnny is going to spend a not yet, but he will basically try to put Miles through the wall with a punch.
Okay, Dex with Sprawl. Miles, are you dodging or are you holding off on burning any actions?
I will dodge. I spent 1 for celerity.
5 successes.
Take off 3.
Okay, 1 die carries over.
I will spend a point of blood for potence.
Okay. Miles, go ahead and roll soak.
A very good roll, considering the circumstances. 3 levels of bashing.
Is that counting the automatic successes? For
Yes, it is.
Oh,
Wow, your dice are just not doing it tonight, huh?
I'm okay with that.
That's good right now.
I take 1.
halved to 0. Johnny connects with Miles' chin, and Miles is sent spiraling into the wall. A portion of Wynn's haven kind of caves, and the old wood kind of bends and snaps. Miles is covered in like grime and dirt, and we go to Miles.
I'm going to pick myself up, dust myself off, and kind of signal the fact that he just punched me into his friend's house. Essentially not doing. I'm just waiting to see if he hits me again at this point, essentially.
Holding?
Yeah.
Okay. Britta.
Britta is going to look to Miles covered in that sort of white cement dust, and her head will whip to Johnny, and she'll say, Johnny, please come out of it. Okay, I know, but she's trying to social Johnny out of it.
Okay. Roll me charisma leadership. Actually, manipulation leadership.
Does expressive count?
Yes.
Okay. 3 successes.
Johnny, you may spend a point of willpower and roll self-control if you'd like.
No, thank you.
Then we will go to Neil.
Seeing Britta like try and talk him down, and Johnny just continuing to like be enraged and go after Miles, he'll just look at Miles and be like, "Hey, just get out of sight for a little bit, okay? Just for a minute." I'll hold him off. Okay?
Where do you expect me to go?
Into the woods for like 3 minutes. And Neil will start... It's raining, right?
Yes, it is.
And Neil will start, like, moving his hands around and stepping back from Johnny a little bit and try and lash out with turn the rain into shackles of water to hold him still and away from hurting anybody.
Okay, the shackles cannot move him, but it can keep him in place.
They will keep him in place. Yeah. I mean, until he potences out of him, but it'll at least take him an action.
Mm-hmm.
The rain coalesces into, like, chains of water that just entangle Johnny. You will need 6 successes on a, unfortunately, strength check to
How my dice have been going, you might got me.
to break out. But you will need 6 successes to break out. It's difficulty 8.
Okay.
Water version of Full Nelson.
I am waterful Nelsoning him so you can get away for a little bit.
Wynn.
Wynn stands between Miles and Johnny, and she looks Johnny dead in the eyes, like he's a wild animal. And she just said, "We are not doing this." And she's going to attempt to quell him.
Spend point of willpower. Go ahead and give me a roll.
Ooh.
Alright, what's the test
Do
for
any of my abilities affect this?
No.
I have Ironheart.
Ironheart does not affect animalism. That is Dominate, Might affecting Thaumaturgy, and Presence.
2 successes.
With 2 successes, Johnny comes out of frenzy.
How do the water shackles look? Like, do they move? Are they, like, still?
They are very clearly magical in nature. It is water summoning forth, like, thin tendrils of it that have, like, ensnared his, like, wrists and elbows and shoulders and legs.
Johnny's eyes go from the kind of vibrating, almost blank expression he has in frenzy to suddenly coalescing on you. His brow is still furrowed in anger, but you see that he has stopped and has control of himself.
I don't know what your end game is, but you just destroyed part of my fucking haven to try and hurt someone in this coterie. You can be pissed. You should be pissed. But we are not the targets here. Get it the fuck together.
I understand you're not the targets. And I understand you're not my enemies. But I am barely keeping this together. And you should have fucking known better than to get under my skin right now.
Yeah, we've all had a hard night.
Oh.
Wynn grabs Johnny by the arm and forcibly yanks him towards the woods.
You find that the shackles that hold him are resilient even to you. Make a strength roll at difficulty 8. You want 6 successes in order to tear Johnny free from his place.
Just strength?
Yep.
Okay. Spending a blood to beef my strength. Spending a willpower. 1 success.
You go to pull, and the water tension seems unbreakable and holds him in place.
Neil, drop it.
Should we really do that?
It's fine. I'll go.
No. I don't want anybody...
I start walking off.
As soon as Wynn, like, as the debate starts, as soon as Wynn says Neil drop it, he drops it immediately.
Wynn forcibly takes Johnny on a walk.
I'm sorry, I just didn't want
It's good.
I didn't want anyone to get hurt. And he sort of, like, sags down into the presumably now wet beanbag chair, just kind of like...
One of us should go get Miles.
He'll probably listen to you better than me right now.
Alright. Be right back, okay?
I'm not going anywhere.
Britta will head off in what she thinks is Miles' direction.
Miles, as you kind of brood, walking and pacing and kind of quickly becoming unsure of where you are in the woods,
That's very true.
you start to hear a voice. It is as I said, Miles. You must choose. So what will it be? Just Johnny finally lost you.
It's not that time yet.
Do you finally see the suffering that your clan causes? The way their grip on power tightens so much that it slips between their fingers? Do you really think that the death of Ismaiah is going to result in any peace for you?
No death. Ends up in peace.
There is one death that can Your grace. You need but reach out and take it.
And what is the cost?
The cost? No. No, this one's for free, Miles. A prince can protect their coterie, can see to it that they are rewarded with what they deserve, can stand against the Sabbat, defending their people, not with cowardice, but with the edge of their blade. And I know how much you relish the edge of your blade.
He just kind of sighs at the demon, unsure what to say, other than the thought that the first taste is always free.
One comes to you now. Hope in her eyes.
At that, Miles looks around to see who's approaching.
And you see Britta.
Her arms are crossed tightly over herself. He's right. There is that sort of cautious hope in her eyes as she's trying to find where Miles went off to. She's heightened her sense of vision in order to find Miles.
Which is good, because I cannot see it all in the dark.
Well, she needs to use the residual light in order to heighten her vision within it. But she's got a little bit of light coming off from her cell phone screen. And so she's looking around. She spots Miles. Hey.
Nice night for a stroll.
Yeah. I kind of wish this was what this was.
I mean, I don't. These shoes are way too expensive for the woods in the rain.
They're nice shoes. And they're ruined.
Yeah, well, it's just been those kind of days.
I know that there's been... I don't know how any of us can keep perspective of all of the terrible shit that's happened to all of us. And it makes what happened to you and to Marcos feel like it happened a while ago, but it didn't. It happened recently. And I'm sorry that that's not being remembered and with every emergency, and it should be.
It's okay. He was known to you, but he wasn't your friend in the same way. Though of all of us, you did know him the best.
I don't know how to get through this either, but I know that we're doing this in order to have each other as safe as we can. And it's hard not to get angry with each other when it all goes against everything that we're trying for and everything that we want to be.
Is it? I'm not angry. Not at them, not at you guys, not for this. I understand that circumstances are outside of our control and that we have fight against them, but it's not your fault. It's not any of our fault. At the end of the day, we need to figure out how to get through it and what we want to do to get through it. And that's what I was trying to say before I had an untimely meeting with a wall.
Well, you said it pretty well to me, so maybe next time after the practice, although Wynn's probably gonna need to stay with probably me for a bit, or if you need someone there.
I don't know what I'm doing yet.
Yeah, we can do whatever you need, okay?
Anyways, there's a lot of things going on and we need to deal with it.
Yeah.
But not if we keep coming at each other like enemies, like we're the problem.
When we come back, just maybe... Miles, you keep the objective so much forefront in your mind. And that's a good thing. We need that. That helps lead us through so much. But, you know, a lot of us work a lot more with our hearts. We'll be able to hear it better if you remember that.
In summation, I use my heart a lot less.
I don't think so. I think that you don't let it show so much. And I think sometimes people need to see it to get that.
Sorry we couldn't do anything about your blood bonding. And I know that doesn't mean much right now, but it should have been your choice if you wanted it to be.
I came in knowing that I was willing to pay a lot of prices to try to keep Neil alive, and
Well, this was about keeping you alive.
the prince said that he trusts me now, so that'll help keep me safe.
That's true, but it shouldn't have been necessary.
Maybe it's just the way that it should have gone. I could be better this way.
My words stand.
Thank you. I am. It just helps me see more clearly that we need to help His Grace.
Yeah, in these sets of circumstances, limits the options. At least the ones that we can ultimately discuss.
Alright. Are you ready to try again?
I'm always ready.
That's true.
I'm just not sure if it's going to be readily accepted. But sure, lead me back. I have no idea where I am.
I think part of being ready is, that willingness to try again.
Well,
So,
Wynn would have had to find me. I would have probably died to sunlight if I'd gone too far.
I'll help you back. When Miles and Britta come back, both of their nice court shoes are ruined, and they find Neil still sprawled out on the beanie. What do you call that?
Beanbag.
It's a
Beanbag
beanbag chair. And Neil has pulled out from somewhere, or maybe he got it from Wynn stuff. Maybe he had it in his pockets the whole time somehow. Who knows? A little pen and like a notepad, some scrap paper, and he's just writing. It doesn't really react when you guys get back. He's just like inside his own head writing.
Britta's vision is still heightened, and at the sense of Neil's distraction, she will look over towards the page.
His hand is obscuring a lot of it, but you can definitely still, even in the dark around here, see that it just starts, "Hi everyone, it's your friend Neil."
Britta comes closer to read over his shoulder.
It's pretty clearly Neil trying to order his thoughts, because as his hand moves down, the next sentence says, "I've written my thoughts down because sometimes I get jumbled." The next word is Johnny, and then he, also with his heightened senses, can't quite help but notice that, someone's looming over reading his handwriting. It's like, "Hey, I'm not done yet."
Sorry. And Britta takes a step back and acts as if she was not doing the thing that she was just called out for doing.
Britta, you're better with this. Help me see if we can put some of these concrete blocks in some sort of order.
Do you really think that's gonna help?
No.
Alright. And she agrees to do it.
Wynn is dragging Johnny.
What is dragging Johnny?
Yeah, I think Johnny is following Wynn.
Yeah.
The
Wynn-
two of you make your way deeper into the woods.
Wynn is moving with purpose. She's taking Johnny to a very specific location. A fair distance away from the cabin, what we're calling charitably a cabin. There's this old, huge, dead tree. And Wynn lets go of Johnny. This is the punch-in tree. Work some shit out.
Could have just left me at the bar with the tequila.
You're no good to me in a bar.
I don't think I'm good to anybody right now.
That's why we're here at the punch-in tree.
Cracks a half-hearted smile. He kind of puts a fist out to the tree and just kind of touches it. Raises his other arm like he's gonna punch and then just kind of sags. Hitting trees really isn't my gig here, Wynn.
Wynn kind of gives him a look like she's thinking about saying something mean and thinks better of it. The tension in her shoulders goes a little bit. She comes over and she just wraps him in a bear hug. Thumps his back a couple times. It's a shitty night, man.
Yeah. Been a hell of a year.
Yep. We're not done yet.
You need me back in the cabin?
Yep. Yep, I do. I need my people to be okay. And I need us to be okay together. Even if it's not good when we're okay together, it's at least honest.
I'll try and be there as best I can.
I'll be there to pull you back if you lose it again, man.
I was trying to be honest and talk it out with you guys.
I saw.
I know that you're not my enemies. I'm not going to treat you guys like enemies. despite what I did back there.
I think sometimes friends take a swing at each other.
I hope so.
I mean, that's the basis of our relationship, isn't it?
We should probably try and have a healthier relationship then.
Yeah, we should probably stay out of the bars so much.
He kind of nods his head a little bit. Follow you back?
Yep. Wynn does not seem at all bothered by the muck and the rain and the distance from the cabin. She knows exactly what's what. And she leads Johnny back.
As the rain starts to die down, Wynn and Johnny both return.
Britta and Miles are attempting to put bricks into a semblance of a functional wall. I imagine the floor is soaking wet if those manacles... Did they dissipate?
When Wynn pulled him off, Neil sort of waved his hand and they just dissipated with a splash.
So I imagine it's a little crooked. This place is on a little slant.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really sealed well together, but it's standing.
And with all that brick dust and water, both the Ventru and the Toreador, usually pretty well put together, are just absolutely not thriving in the muck the way that the Gangrel and the Bruja are existing.
I appreciate the effort, guys.
We were thinking that you'd probably want to stay somewhere else for a bit anyways.
I can sleep in the ground. Joey knows where this place is, and I don't really want to risk him going anywhere further from here.
Then I guess we just gotta bring you some wall fixing stuff.
Wall fixing stuff, correct.
I'll figure something out.
I think this is what they use spackle for, but I'm not entirely sure.
It was my mistake. I'll make sure it gets fixed for you, Wynn.
I appreciate it.
Okay.
I have some extra doors.
Wynn does chuckle. It's a little unsettling to hear.
When you guys get back, Neil is just still kind of sitting in a wet beanbag chair, like hunched over now that he like caught Britta looking over her shoulder one time, writing notes in a little notebook.
Can we start this over a little bit and just acknowledge that we're here for each other?
Neil tries to get up out of the beanbag chair, finds it as impossible as a gangly 6-foot-tall man getting out of a beanbag chair can possibly find it, and eventually makes it to his feet. Holds up the notepad to read off of it. Hi everyone, it's your friend Neil. I have written my thoughts down. Johnny talked about losing perspective on what's important to you. So I wanted to talk about what's important to me, so you know why I'm doing what I am. These are the final nights. I know you don't want to maybe hear that or can't believe it yet, but please try and see what I see. I can't help but to see the signs everywhere, all the time. Let's say for the sake of argument, I'm right. The end is coming. The red star burns. Why am I still here? What's important to me? You. All of you. I want to fight the apocalypse, futile as it may be, side by side with all of you. Because I have so little in my life that isn't bad. But I have you. I don't have ambition other than all of you and Nara, so I don't want to lose this. I'll do what I have to keep it, no matter what. I will now take questions. Sorry, I know this is maybe a little, weird, but I just, everybody was walking away, and this keeps happening, over and over again, and I know sometimes we all have different, things to, think about, and we have different perspectives on stuff, and I wanted everybody to know why I'm, so, sometimes I get a little, it's hard to, stay on one topic.
All right, okay. Besides some of that stuff making zero sense to me,
Which part?
something about a red star.
Yeah, that's new to me too.
Great. Is that
Britta.
important to the next, 2 weeks?
I do not know the answer to that
Sounds like
question.
a no.
Not knowing an answer is not a no. It's just another sign of Gehenna, that's fine.
Great.
Britta is self-consciously running her fingertip over the palm of her hand within the glove.
Sorry, I didn't mean to make things uncomfortable.
It's not uncomfortable, Neil. We just don't have the words right now.
We are all contemplating the things that we want to say, I think, to one degree or another.
Yeah, I thought maybe this might act as a prompt. Yeah.
Can I make a note?
To me?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
You're supposed to use that as, like, notes for yourself and not just read straight from it. Just FYI.
What do you mean? No, I wrote myself a thing so that...
I know, I couldn't help myself, sorry.
Is it like a script writing note? Is that...
It's a public speaking note.
Okay. Good feedback, I guess.
We're moving from one not-so-great thing to another for a while now. And we're still caught in a web of things that is calling for us to do things. And the choices aren't clear. And as much as Roland's was erratic, I believe that was largely played upon by various outside forces to do harm to us.
Do you think maybe you could appease the Setites by doing that thing that they wanted you to do with the gate?
I mean, that was a thing we were discussing. I'm not even sure that this isn't a play by them to get me to do 2 favors, because I'm not sure that Roland's can even take that favor for me.
But that's what I'm trying to say. Is there anything that... Could we dodge this situation by working with the Setites?
Maybe. I'm willing to talk to them. I'm going to have to either way. I need to confirm that this will at least absolve the favor owed, if nothing else, and make sure that's the thing that's on the table. Doesn't necessarily mean I want to do it. I'm not a big fan of giving Setites anything. But they put us in a way that I can't necessarily just maneuver around it currently.
For this to have gone through, Wynn and I, we currently have our names in 4 life boons. I hope that will go down once we get through this, but I've already said that I'm willing to risk my life to try to keep Neil alive, so that's how I feel about the situation that we're in.
Look, I don't know Amara, but she's pissed off the Setites, so that makes her better in my book already. But I also don't know Amara, and that is a factor. Yet again, I'm not really interested in being somebody else's mercenary either.
What if, Neil, you did the water thing? The manacles?
It's a simple application of the Covenant of Enki, yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, the water magic.
Can you... Miles, do you think maybe if we brought Amara alive, just restrained like that, maybe they won't kill her?
That's just us shifting who's killing her.
I can't move her around once she's restrained like that, and that was a sort of a sacrifice play. Johnny is easily strong enough to bust his way out of them, and Amaya is his clan, so...
Johnny makes a sour face and pops another cigarette into his mouth.
I just figured if, worst comes to worst, he'd be mad at me for doing it over being mad at Miles.
I guess what I'm trying to put forwards is our options, so we can talk about them.
On topic, off topic, I kind of think Miles is right. We've been jumping from, corner to corner, emergency to emergency. We've just been reacting for a long time, but I think that's also to each other, if that makes sense. It's kind of why I said I wanted to say why I'm doing what I'm doing, why I'm here, because, we've been doing so much and we're so exhausted. I know I am. Everybody else has to be. And I don't want us in all these emergencies and horrible things that we have to do to not recognize why we're doing them and why we are doing what we're doing, even if we disagree.
I'm here because you guys chose me and I chose you back. I'm here because I want to be, because I wouldn't be if it wasn't for you guys, and I see that in all of us just watching out for each other and not just our lives, who we are, and, yeah. That's why I'm here.
The world's ending, and I want to be with my friends when it happens. Looking it straight in the eyes and giving it the finger. I don't want to just quietly have it happen while I'm alone.
I've had my own life to choose who I want to be, knowing that choice might not last long. So I'm choosing to be a part of this. And Britta kind of looks around, inviting people to speak to that as well.
There's quite a few moves tonight that have been made that may have been smarter than they originally intended, which limits some of the options that we can discuss. But I've risked quite a few things, and will continue to risk them to keep the rest of you safe, and what you care about safe. And it's come at a cost.
Miles, how loud is the voice in your head?
Depends on the moment.
Okay. I'm just checking in.
But it's a near constant presence. It's been weirdly comforting at this time.
That makes sense.
Wait, comforting?
I'm never alone.
Is he friendly?
He'll pretend to be.
He is what he is, if he is even appropriate. But I understand the nature, and I can appreciate it.
Just don't forget, it will tell you the truth when it serves it, and it will lie when it serves it, and it will tell you the truth exactly enough to make you think it knows everything, so that when it says something that's a lie, you'll believe it. Last piece of... I know we've talked about that.
So don't trust it. Got it.
Oh, no, not ever. Not ever. Even if it has completely true answers. Don't trust it.
Right. We have the new ordeal, and we have the Sabbat. And we need to figure out what's going on with Jane and Suarez.
Yeah, we need to make sure she's okay.
Is Vito part of the Sabbat, or is that still a different problem? Because he was creeping on Britta like a few weeks ago.
I mean...
He's around.
I know, but...
Well, I'm just thinking of solvable problems.
I know. It's just... I'm trying to deal with the currently staring in his face ones, not the ones just waiting for the moment when we're weakest.
Do we have to deal with Vito now?
Sooner the better.
I mean, we have a little time before the other ones.
If we could find him.
I could find him.
Yeah?
I think. I mean, I've never done it, but there's this feeling like I could call his name and he would come. I don't know how to describe it better. It
Johnny
just
gives you a wary eye.
Like we were afraid of Pendragon doing to us?
Yeah, like that?
I mean, Elsa's your mentor, right? Or ally.
She was willing to give me a shot and help me do what I did at court. Why do you ask?
That's a well-known thing that people possessing the power that Ventrue and others have, called summoning.
I think I might be able to do it, yeah. Britta looks to Johnny at the caution in his face. I don't know anything about it, obviously. It's just if we really needed to find him.
I mean, we do.
I mean, what are we going to do with him? Currently, we're supposed to give him over to Reese.
Is there a reason not to?
Letting Reese have something he wants?
Pretty much that.
But it solves the problem.
Maybe.
I'm not a fan of giving Reese anything he wants, but I'm also not a fan of a rogue flesh crafter running around New Haven.
I'd rather give Vito to the Justicar, personally.
Oh, that's right. The Archon wanted him at some point.
Only for dealing with Shaw.
For dealing with Shaw, and that's not really...
Doesn't matter. I still think the Justicar would be the best place to handle him. That was the whole reason that we kept him alive.
Could we...
The whole reason I kept him alive. That sin falls on my head.
Could we give him a Pendragon? It's technically what he was for. And it might be a minor appeasement, at least keep him in the neutral looking at us.
I'm not even sure how we would capture him.
Stick him in the heart. He's a kindred, right?
But he does that thing where he goes through the drains and becomes all bloody.
I can do that too. It's not that big a parlor trick.
can turn into...
Turning into blood?
I'm more of a mist, but...
Oh.
Right, but I get the idea that he can shape his body.
Yeah, but,
So how do we know where his heart is?
Why are we thinking about taking him on physically?
Well, I mean, if Britta asks him to come, he'll come, and then the rest of us could be ready to,
Mostly because I can't guarantee other things will work.
I could tell him that I want him to teach me the blood stuff.
You could tell him to just go to Elysium.
It's true. I could summon him and just say that I want him to go somewhere, but I don't think he would if he thought that would endanger him.
Also, maybe, I mean, there's already enough Sabbat rumors going around with our friend group. Maybe we don't send a Tzimisce fleshcrafter to Elysium.
Alright, maybe we arrange a meeting of folks skilled in... Maybe we invite Pendragon over.
If I touch him, I can mess up his blood, at least a little bit.
Regardless, that's not... I mean, we're talking about these things, but in reality, other than not wanting him running around, it's not, I'm sorry to say, overly pressing in some ways. He's not actively battling or fighting against us.
No, my plumbing issues are a tomorrow problem. Can we...
I also wouldn't be completely surprised if we know exactly where he is right now.
In that house?
Back in the house, tending to the thing that probably owns him.
Right, and we don't know what will happen if he stops doing whatever he does with that thing. So we would need to be prepared to deal with that thing also.
The domain, I mean, has known about that thing and kind of covered that up quietly for a while, hasn't it?
Yep.
I mean, I don't want to masquerade breach, but maybe people would take things seriously if it, I don't know. I know we wanted to burn the house down. That place freaks me out.
It should.
Arabella's convinced that burning the place down wouldn't do anything anyways.
It's not like any of us could drag it into the sun.
Right, so that's why I wanted to focus on the things that we possibly have answers for right now.
I think, if you want my opinion, we could use a proactive win. Not that we haven't been getting wins. I'm alive. You're the Seneschal. None of us is dead yet. But
The Seneschal's not a win.
I'm a proactive win.
Johnny cracks an honest smile for a second.
I was waiting for that was a setup, and I'm glad you. Okay.
You set him up, I knock him down, buddy.
Great. We need to start. I mean, the prince also, on top of the ordeal, is complicated, but we have a little bit of time. Although, the longer we wait, the narrower our options are going to become. But we can at least take a few nights to think about it. In the meantime, the prince also charged you, Seneschal, with dealing with a spot in the city, and we need to do that to prove to stave off Pendragon either way. It's going to take a lot. We're not going to be able to do it in one time, but Pendragon did have a point,
What if we go and we face down the Sabbat? And, I mean, not to be morbid, but I think that has the very real possibility of removing our choice about Amaya anyway. And if we have to do it, and we have to do it as a group, and we all know that we're gonna do that together, maybe that first?
Fighting the Sabbat.
Not all of them at once, but taking a swing. That's what I meant by Pendragon had a point. Hit and run tactics and using a little bit of their own medicine against them. This is our city. They're nested around, but we know it better. We can move through the tunnels. We know what we're doing, at least a little. One or two at a time. At least make them afraid the way that they've been making everybody else in the domain afraid.
We have a month to solve your ordeal, right?
Yeah, we have a month. And there's the entire possibility that in that month, if we're waiting, Amaya will either come and kill me proactively, which I completely understand, or she will beat feet and get out of town, which is a failed ordeal. It's possible, but I am fine waiting a little bit, at least to talk.
That's my point. I don't think we should wait long before solving this.
Britta has a point, though. If we go to try and deal with the Sabbat, and I'm not an issue anymore, then none of this is an issue. And you can all still hang out and be fine. So
Maybe I can get Amaya back the same way that... I'm not sure.
You've never met her, right?
Yeah, it doesn't feel the same.
I think the first step should still be talking to the Setites.
We need to confirm with that, but what kind of person is Amaya?
She's a true Anarch Baron. She cares about the well-being of her people, trying to do what's right, fighting for the small bit of land the Anarchs have managed to carve out for themselves. She doesn't believe on trampling people for the sake of the jihad. I haven't seen her in a while, but I get the feeling that she's the kind of bruja that doesn't forget those ideals.
Is there something she'd die for?
I don't know about that.
Miles, if you talk to the Setites, here's a question maybe to keep in mind. Why are they poaching, taking over, or killing all of the Anarchs?
I mean, I can ask them, but they're probably not going to tell me.
Well, don't ask them directly, but, you're political.
I'll see what I can do.
If we knew why they were doing this, what they even wanted.
But it seems like many of the Anarchs, based on the information we have turned to the Setites' promises.
I can take a guess.
Yeah?
The Setites, just like the Anarchs, are smaller independent groups of kindred. Starting a war with the Anarchs is a battle they can win without stirring up a nest like something of the Camarilla or the Sabbat. That's territory and bodies they can claim and add to their own cause. I think it's just a land grab.
A while ago now, we brought them a lot of guns. We know they're trying to defend themselves or attack someone.
You got it mixed up, girl.
Hmm?
They brought us weapons.
Oh. Sorry, it's
a
memory
lot.
and I.
It's been a busy couple of months.
No, and they seem to be subverting, not going to war.
That's a form of war.
It's a lot less bloody, and it seems to be working.
Well,
They're winning them over through...
They kill the ones they can't convert, and they convert the rest they can.
Amaya's the last one. That was the word, right?
I'm sure there's a few other Anarchs with her.
I can't believe that she's on her own.
I would have to think she's just the only one of note left.
I don't know. I mean, she might be alone in the world. I got no idea.
Right.
So questions. A lot of questions.
Can we start with Miles, you going to talk to them, the Setites, and seeing if there's maybe anything more to this or any deal that we could make?
I will talk to the Setites and confirm whether what we heard is true or not, and see what other information we can gather. Other than possibly learning about what's going on with the Anarchs and Amaya, I also would like to table that for a second and deal with the thing, and for a person that we know. We need to see what's going on with Jane. She's helped us out a numerous amount of times.
She's missing. It does seem like the most pressing issue.
And it seemed like she may be in trouble. You were saying something about Suarez. We should figure out what's going on, and that is something that we can do,
To help
and something
someone.
that we should do.
Johnny kind of nods slowly and gives you a very thankful and honest kind of look when he does so.
And Suarez is a good person. We dealt with him. I tried to deal with him in a way that would keep the masquerade intact, but we're going to be left with few choices if it's not taken. His will was strong, so it may have done things to him too.
I've always thought the methods that you've used for that have been a little sloppy, but I've never questioned the effectiveness of it. I'm really surprised that
he was good. So we may need to, to keep him alive, he may need to be brought in.
I'm not sure how we're going to find him.
I can work on that.
And Johnny could bring him in?
Not bring him in physically. I mean, bring him into our world.
That's what I mean. We have permission.
Oh, I thought you meant like ghouling him. Putting him into the know.
Either way works. It's really up to him.
Okay.
Maybe present him with a choice.
Well.
Because otherwise, if he continues this line of thought and pursuit, we're not going to be left with a lot of options. And I'd rather not remove a good person in this world for asking questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, some thoughts there. But that is something we can concretely move on and do something about and help a person that has helped us.
Absolutely. Let's do that. Let's
start there.
And we can gather information on the other things. So, Sabbat movements and about Amaya and what's going on there. We want to know information. We need information if we're going to find some other solution to this.
When everything feels overwhelming, one bite at a time, right? One thing at a time. And we can do it.
Town Ant eats a buffalo.
Is that how that phrase goes?
Yeah.
Okay. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot of buffalo.
Yeah. One bite at a time.
Okay.
So we have a set of things we can try to look at now.
When Weathers left tonight, he made mention of the fact that he wanted to start fighting for the things that he believed in again. I don't know if I knew exactly what he meant, and I still don't know if I know exactly what he means. But when I walked away from him there, people were avoiding me as I walked down the street. It was an uncomfortable feeling, because they were making way for something terrifying. I think I'm forgetting what's important to me. And through all this, I think I'm starting to remember. There are a lot of people working to different ends in the Northeast right now. Longbow, the Gemini League, Sabbat, Setites, Anarchs, Tremere. I want to protect my allies, my friends, and my family. And if somebody puts me against one of those people, those are the ones I'm going to push back against. This might mean we go into some hard fights, and some fights that might not even be winnable. A lot of these fights are not going to be able to be fought with fists, or crowbars, or katanas, or high-powered rifles. We're going to have to be smart. I'm really bad at that. You all are very important to me. I might get upset with you, but none of you are my enemies. People who are putting me at odds with you and other allies of mine, those are my enemies. If you all can count on one thing, that's as simple as it is with me.
Britta gives Johnny a very quiet, grateful smile. Nods.
Wynn gives an approving nod.
When Johnny mentions, I'm here to fight for the things that I believe in, and that's why I'm here, Neil gives sort of an understanding, me too kind of nod.
Path of Night is an actual play Vampire the Masquerade podcast set in the classic world of darkness. Britta Ashcroft the Toreador was played by Rebecca Steigelfest. Johnny Saxon the Brujah was played by Garrett Gabbey. Miles Davenport the Ventru was played by Tim Davis. Neil Foster the Malkavian was played by Rob Muirhead. Wynn Cabot the Gangrel was played by Erika Webb. Your storyteller was Lex Lopez. Recording by Rebecca Steigelfest. This episode was edited by Rob Muirhead. The music used in this episode was January Grunge Love Fest by Technoaxe. Visit them online at technoaxe.com. Path of Night uses the 20th anniversary edition rule set of Vampire the Masquerade with a few limited house rules. Vampire the Masquerade is owned by Paradox Interactive. Make sure to subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on Twitter at Path of Night Pod, on Facebook at facebook.com/Path of Night Podcast, or email us at pathofnightpodcast@gmail.com. See you next time, Kindred.
Well, Wynn would have had to find me. I would have probably died to sunlight if I'd gone too far.
I'll help you back.
Sorry, that was really funny because it's a small forest.
Literally Miles walking around in the same half square mile.
Look,
Too rich for this.
look, that is a 2-die roll for me.
Yeah.
And I have no glasses right now.
Yeah.
Wait, what do you roll?
That would probably be wits survival.
to get your way out.
So I have 3 wits and no survival. So that's a -1. It's 2 dice and and my perception checks are down.
Higher difficulty for trying to get out.
My perception checks are at 1 die.
I don't have any survival either, but...
Yeah, with the rain and the fact that there's probably snow on the ground,
Oh, yeah.
it's foggy.
The
probably.
rain causes a -2 die.
-2 die.
I would die. I would die to sunlight.
He just dies.
Miles.
Miles needs to not be doing what he's doing. It is simply the end.
And
I know myself.
What happened to that political powerhouse? He just wandered into the
He got lost in the woods.
He got lost in the woods.
He got lost in the
This
woods.
is a city. Yeah, I know.
It was a pock. Just kept going in circles.
Where is my seneschal? I wish you speak to him. He died in the woods, my lord. Oh, a horrible fate. I've lost too many seneschals this way. Heavens forbid I never find myself in the woods.
Damn right.